Yes, so we're playing the second session of the Gardens of Yin. As I was mentioning earlier, um, our heroes find themselves in a dark forest. The moon hangs over the trees, but something else hangs there, which is a glass roof held by metal panels that themselves are not supported by anything, and they just seem to float in the air. And you've just woken up. It is evening, and you had like a small discussion about the disappearing black cat. But also, Vincenzo, you have dreamt of something. You have, like, your dreams were there were dreams about entropy and decay. Could you give me like an example how that manifested?
Well, so I mentioned last time that the reason why my character Vincenzo is a disgraced noble is because I was having an affair with a priest, a young brother, I suppose, Dominic. Very, the thing that drew me to Dominic is he has that sort of like beauty that comes with just having read the same damn book over and over and over again and not having had to think too hard about anything. That's how Oscar Wilde would have put it. I think he said those exact words, in fact. And that the religious are always more beautiful because they don't think about anything. Once you start thinking about things, you become all nose and chin and forehead, right? And so he's just like very vital, very youthful, very passionate, very innocent, importantly. And so I consider him a conquest. And I think this dream is us walking hand in hand through this life path not taken, us being lovers, secret, and later, with the protection my money affords me, a little more open. But in any case, we're walking through different scenes of our lives. And as time is passing, we're seeing different scenes of birthdays and celebrations and Christmases and all this other stuff. He's just getting older and older and older and grayer and more shriveled, while I am still quite flush with youth and vitality. And I find him repellent, and I resent him that I managed to stay so young and beautiful, but look at you. Yeah.
Cool. Can you also subtract 1 point of your very strange stat, which is called sense of self? That means you have now 22. It was not like it was not a pleasant dream at all, but not really like a nightmare that you wake up sweating or something. It's just something that's lingering. So you just said, keeping with Vincenzo, another second, that you are still beautiful and like elegant looking. Can you describe your character?
Yeah, in the dream or right now?
Right now, when you wake up.
Yeah, I mean, I have sort of shoulder-length brown hair. I've got a fairly nice chiseled look. I do have the sort of the de Pasquale nose, and my clothing is, I've done my best to maintain like kind of nice form-fitting leathers. I try to keep everything in good condition. part of being a noble person is being, you have to like, it's all about like presentation, right? And carriage and how you present yourself. That's what makes you noble bearing, not like, not like your name and your money, although those two things help. And so the one indication of just like the hard life I'm living right now is the fact that my boots are pretty clearly worn through. So.
But like your posture gives your noble heritage away.
Yes. I think in the morning when I get up, I lean on the tree and I do pensive gentleman, right? As I'm like sitting there thinking about the day and everything I've experienced, wondering why Mittens left us. I know why. Haters. And yeah.
And so somebody is climbing out of a tent, which is surprising. The others have bedrolls. Whispering pain. How does your character look like?
They're in the probably grayish robes that were once white. Like they're blemished from travel, and that's fine. I probably don't even have shoes on at all because I know where to step, Vincenzo. I've got my walking staff with me, which is hand carved, I imagine, at the monastery that I left. And I am looking very rejuvenated. I'm looking far more rejuvenated than Vincenzo, I guess, who is 3/12 himself, whereas I am 9/12 myself. So, yes.
And then lastly, there's Albertus, and part of Albertus is obviously Isabel. And Isabel, the mechanical owl, sits on a branch and looks down at you. And who do we see, Albertus?
Albertus is like the first one awake because he doesn't, he's quite an older gentleman now, so he doesn't sleep as much as he used to. He doesn't need as much sleep, so he's like the first one to wake. And maybe he gets a little fire going, out some kindling, and he's cooking up like the morning rations for everyone. And as everyone comes and wakes up, he'll hand out a little bowl of breakfast to everyone. And he's like muttering like under his breath, like he's going over all of the strange things that he saw yesterday, trying to come up with like a logical explanations for things, like the way that time was stretching and kind of dilating and going strange, and the talking cat, and all things like this, and the weird the sound of the machinery like underneath the ground and things, and he's going over like basically just like talking to himself, like talking about like possible theories and equations that could explain away these things.
And I think you are also the first to probably realizes that there's a glass roof over the tree line. And so Harold, we see this English whaler strolling through the dark woods. Who do we see?
Who do I see first?
No, who do we see as the audience? Like, how do you look? How does your character?
Oh, I see. We see maybe a youngish man, but it's hard to tell because his skin is just so weathered. It's leathery and it's like sunburnt, whatever. So, and like pocked. And what happens when you get scurvy? See, he's like missing some teeth, because that's what happens with scurvy, right? Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, and he has a shambling walk, but it looks very comfortable in his loose, raggedy clothes. And you can see maybe in a little bit of his bearing that maybe he once had a very different life. Whistling through the gaps in his teeth.
Oh wow! So probably you guys hear the whistling before Harold hears Albertus talking under his breath. So how do you three react to the whistling?
So we haven't seen Harold yet. We just hear
No,
Harold.
it's pretty dark. You can see like maybe 10 meters, 30 feet.
Maybe that's Mittens returned to accept your apologies.
If we ever see that goddamn cat again, it'll be too soon.
I think I like whistle back like in a bird song type thing, see if it's intelligent or not.
Yeah, there's also the sound of a forest in the beginning evening. There's owls and so forth. But the whistling is definitely not the whistling of a bird. So Harold, somebody whistles back.
Oh, hail!
And so Harold steps into. Well, Harold, you would obviously see the small fire that that Albertus has made, and you step into the light of the campfire.
And I step so that I am blocking vision from the child, and say, "What is it that you seek here, traveler?"
How tall are you? And what do you look like?
That's true. I think I said before, like 5'8", male Japanese, and pretty dark skin too, I'd say.
Oh, well. Whoa! A man of the Orient! Let's see. I take out my spyglass to look at you.
Oh gosh, it's a good thing I'm from a monastery. I have infinite patience for you. Yes, you see me clearly, but what is it that you want?
I'm enjoying this garden. I strolled through a door and I thought I was about to find some treasures, but I see that I have stepped into perhaps China?
No, I'm afraid not. This is merely a garden as far as I'm aware.
Not a
speaks
doorway
English.
to China.
Yeah. Also, I'm not Chinese, but that's fine.
Wow. I put my spyglass away. I'm Harold Bummings. Blummings? Forgot my last name. Blummings. Well met. Hold out my hand, shake.
I'll let you shake my stick.
I say, so Harold, what possessed you to walk through that door?
I was told there'd be untold treasures. You don't appear to be the proprietor of this garden. Do you know where I may find them?
We're only looking for 3 treasures now. How many treasures are we up to? 4. We're looking for 3 particular treasures. 3 white treasures.
All right. Sure.
But my dear fellow, and I step up, and so Albertus steps forward. My dear fellow Vincenzo, what you neglected to mention there is we're also searching for the greatest treasure of all. The treasure of scientific knowledge, of exploration. And there's some very, very strange, unexplainable things going on here in this garden that I think we need to get to the bottom of. Like, look above, gaze up, gentlemen. You can see, look, beyond there, the moon, is beyond a glass ceiling, a glass structure. This is obviously, we're still within, we're not in a wild garden, we're within a man-made structure here. Anyway, and I sort of extend my hand and I shake yours. I'm Professor Albertus Blumenthal. Pleased to meet you, my dear man.
Well met, well met.
And I am Signore Vincenzo di Pasquale.
And there's this kind of squeaky kind of sound of this sort of flapping, and this this mechanical owl sort of flaps down from the tree, the branches, and it lands like on Albertus's shoulder, and he's like, "Oh, and this here is Isabel. Say hello, Isabel."
Isabel says, "Oi, governor."
Well, well. What is this?
Oh, this is Isabel, and I think she likes you. And actually, she kind of hops off of Albertus's shoulder, like onto your shoulder.
Whoa!
And starts like,
whoa! Now, keep the beast away from me.
No matter what Albertus tells you, it's just a machine. It has no soul.
What? A machine? But this is unheard of. Is this one of the treasures?
No, this is this, and I get her to flap back onto my shoulder. Like, no, she's not a treasure. She's a treasure to me. She's my companion, Isabel. I crafted her with my own fair hand.
Are you willing to sell her by any chance?
Ah! Please have some manners. We've only just met, and you're already trying to buy her off into a life of mechanical slavery. Oh, Isabel, don't listen to them, and I'll sort of wander off back to the fire and tutting under my breath.
Oh, well, rather an unpleasant fellow.
We're looking for 3 boys, 3 white boys, just like this white boy. And I point toward the white boy we've currently collected.
Yeah, Jan.
What's his name?
Jan has stuck his head out of the tent. I assume that he slept in Whispering Pain's tent, and he is very, very shy. And when he sees another stranger, he climbs back into the tent.
Oh.
No, hold on. Is this the treasure that you speak of? This child?
Well, I meant it in a figurative sense. I mean, really, we're just supposed to grab these kids and bring them back. We've been hired to do that. They wandered in here, and we were sent to come retrieve them.
So, are there other treasures in this garden?
Well, I've been tapping on the pedestals of statues quite prodigiously and frequently, and have not yet come up with anything, despite the fact that everyone knows that's always where treasure is stored.
Yes. In my experience, that is true.
So what do you do for a living, sir?
Well,
You look a rather rough sort. Don't take that the wrong way.
So I have a giant harpoon strapped to my back. Well, can't tell. I whale.
All right. Mm-hmm. Were you hoping to find a whale here in the garden?
No. My good man, I am looking to find something much more valuable, though there's not much, I suppose, at the moment. But the sea, it's a hard mistress. I would like to find something that could perhaps free me from her fierce embrace.
And then harpoon it.
Sure, if need be.
Very well, as long as we know where we stand with you. Well, you can join our company if you wish, Harold the Harpooner.
Sure. It's Harold Blummings, but call me Harry if you want.
I'm terrible with names. Harold, right. So, shall we?
So I assume that Whispering Pain is, disassembling his tent, and Jan is climbing out, and he stays close with you. And do you plan to go deeper into the woods? Do you want to return to the creek where you came from, or do you want to go to the canal where Harold came from?
Is it possible Harold would have seen something interesting in the canal?
Well, where Harold got off was just like steps leading up higher onto higher ground to the woods, actually. But the canal was also extending deeper into the gardens.
Is it possible for someone to sort of climb a tree and get a bit of a vantage point to see if there's any like landmarks like we can head towards, like in the distance?
Yeah.
Why, yes, of course.
Mm?
Scramble up a tree.
I guess that would just be like climbing up the rigging, wouldn't it? Is that what you nautical fellows do?
Why, yes, you seem very informed.
Yeah, I've read about nautical travel in my time.
Okay, so I'm up this tree.
Yeah, so you climb the tree, and let me see what you see. So the forest extends for quite a bit, actually. But you can see that behind behind where the tree ends, there's a hedge maze, a maze made from hedges.
I see beyond those trees a hedge maze.
But you can also see, like, if you look back to where the heroes came, like in some ways a shooting range.
On the other side, a shooting range.
Yeah, that's where we just came from. There's a gang of particularly vicious peacocks chased us out of there. I'm not in a hurry to head back, I must be honest with you.
Well, this garden seems to be full of rather strange birds. I look at the mechanical bird. Isabel?
Yes.
Do you see any children hiding or perhaps running for their lives?
Do I?
No.
The cat said that they were all probably dead, right?
Well, the cat said it, but she's also seems to be like pessimistic and cynical. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you can trust her.
Well, plus Vincenzo completely missed that visit.
I know. Wow.
No children, dead or otherwise.
Well, if I was going to hide something, be it a kidnapped child or some gleaming treasure, I'd probably hide it right at the center of a diabolical hedge maze. It just seems logical. So I say we head that way.
To the hedge maze it is.
I hop down the tree. This man speaks sense. Patting myself off.
So you walk in the direction that Harold pointed you to, and the woods get darker and darker and darker. To the point where you don't see the hand in front of your eye. So who does have a light source?
I have torches. I think, yeah, I've got torches. I know they're on a pre-gen sheep. I know I have some.
Yep, I've got a lantern with some oil as well. So we've got plenty of light sources to go around to scare off all the nasty beasties that might approach us.
Yeah, and it's I imagine this like a scene from like an animated fairy tale. The four heroes walking in the light of lanterns and torches through this forest that gets darker and darker and darker.
What does it smell like in this forest?
Well, it's the trees are needle trees, so I don't know if you have been into if you've been to a forest where the like the needle fell on the ground and the foliage.
And it makes like almost like a soft carpet, like kind of underground. Like,
yeah, it's a soft carpet. The trees themselves, they actually stand apart from each other, but the crowns, they form this like a roof under the glass roof, I guess. So I assume that Vincenzo is in front. Do you take any like precaution? How do we see you maneuver through the woods?
I am definitely I have this like overwhelming fear of just like stepping on a body. And it all kind of goes, it all goes back to like when my grandfather, Antonio de Pasquale, like rolled out of his bed and then died on the floor. And I came in and I stepped on his body. And so I have this like terrible, terrible, paralyzing like thing about like where my feet are going and not stepping on dead things. And so I am looking at my gear. And in my gear, I have a oh, I don't have that. I thought I had a pole, but I don't. I think I have a branch, and I am just like poking at the ground, making sure there are no bodies. If I happen to find traps, okay, fine. But yeah.
Well, so make a wisdom test. Roll on your wisdom, please.
And is this going to be 1 die or 2?
Depends. Do you think that your vocation plays a role here?
I mean, I have the Penosa, and maybe they always teach us like they teach us the 10-foot pole rule, right? Like when you're traveling, you're going through corridors. For traps, fuck traps. I don't want to step on dead things. So, but it all works out the same in the end, right? So I especially don't want to step on my disgusting old dead grandfather or anyone's, for that matter. So 2.
I mean, Penosa is a dedicated like street.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair.
I don't think that they go to the nature. So roll 1d20, and if you hit your stat, that's a critical roll, like a critical.
Mine's a 4, so yeah, I'm definitely under. I'm good.
So while you're tapping away, you see that once in a while there are these marble slabs under the foliage. And the one you're tapping at the moment seems to be hollow. Like there seems to be some kind of space underneath.
Oh shit, I say to the group. Remember what I said earlier about pedestals and things always being hollow and empty? Yes. Here lies treasure, folks. And I'm brushing away whatever foliage or needles or whatever's on top of it to see what it is.
Yeah, it's.
Don't be too hasty. How can you be sure it's treasure and not a devious, diabolical trap?
Right. I mean, you can never be too careful, I'm sure, but I thought I'd give Harold a chance to show his mettle, to test his worth. What are we looking at here, Horst? What is this?
Yeah, it's
just the ground, or
it's a marble slab that seems to be like the slabs that you use to mark away.
Okay.
to mark a path through the woods. And that's where you tapped on, but it definitely did feel as if there's space underneath the slab.
There's a hole or something underneath this, and I bet you it's filled with treasure, Harold.
Well, if you insist. I like
harpoon it.
I kind of like shove you out of the way a little bit, and so it's a marble slab. Did you say harpoon it, Fraser?
I think we meant whatever's inside, whatever's in the hole beneath the marble slab.
Well, like Albertus steps up, and he's got a backpack, and he's got like this jacket on that's just got loads of like hand sewn pockets, just like all over it. And he's got shit in like every single pocket, and he's going through his pockets, and he's like, "Oh, here!" And he pulls out of his backpack and hands you like a crowbar. He's got, "Oh, maybe this will be of some use to you."
Curious implement. I take it and I like poke into the hole.
So you poke under the slab, trying to get it up, to pry it open. Do you try to destroy it? What's the plan?
No, I'm just gonna. I don't think I'm gonna destroy it yet. Yeah, I'm just like pushing it up.
You do that, and under the slab there is like a squarey hole, actually, and within the hole there's some kind of cloth that has been rotten away, and on the cloth lies a wooden box, which miraculously hasn't molded or anything. It looks in perfect shape. It has like this, what's it called? Like this very fine etchings in it. It is lacquered. It's with a red paint, and it has like a golden kind of mechanism to close it.
Oh, come on, grab it!
Is it a music box?
It does look like a music box.
Cool.
I bet there's a tongue inside of it when you open it up.
Just for saying that, I open it up.
Do you take it out first? Because I am ready to
holding up the very heavy.
You don't have time to. Do you take it?
Sure, I'll snatch it.
Okay.
And then I guess I open it for everyone to see, toward them.
Yeah, you open up the box and you die. No, I'm joking. So inside the lid, there is a key, and it's held in place with silver wire.
Oh, interesting.
There's nothing in the box part, just the.
The box part itself is like an intricate, like you see a. It looks like a silver fish that would on a disc that might turn. But other than that, it looks like a music box.
Interesting. Right.
But when you open it up, there's no music playing.
Right. There's just this key thing. Cool. Well, I guess I say perhaps the door is at the center of the maze? Or the key to whatever this is, or whatever this opens.
Is it possible to wind the fish to play the music?
Do you look at do you take the box from Whispering Pain?
Sure.
Can I see it? Yeah, I will take it, and I want to see if it actually works, like if it plays music.
Yeah, there's definitely like a keyhole on the backside of the box.
Oh, so that's the key for the box, right?
Yes.
Duh, I say as I remove the key and I stick it in there and I begin winding it up.
Yeah, in the beginning it is really, really, really easy, and after a time you hear a click when it is completely wound up, and then the silver fish starts to spin and is opening up his mouth and closing it, and there's like I don't know if you guys know Stravinsky. It's like completely atonal music that disturbs you, because obviously it's the Renaissance. You're used to harmonies and everything, and this is the devil's music if you're religious, and just insane music if you're not.
Well, does it affect us in some way, or do we just hear it? That's it.
No, how it does affect you is up to you. It's not a magical effect. It's just
This is terrible.
yeah.
This feels a bit like a grim portent, friends. A bit of an ill omen.
Close it.
Yeah,
Close
is this worth anything? If not, I say we just toss it aside.
Oh no!
We're going to keep it.
No! Don't toss it! Don't toss it! Can you see the workmanship on this? Did you hear the cogs as it was being wound up? That was probably a 24-12 ratio on the cogs there. That's a very, very technical piece of work inside. Here,
I heard the sound of the devil is what I heard.
Yeah,
Burn it.
as long as we don't play that again, I'm fine with that.
I promise, yeah, we won't play it. Can we just? Hey, maybe I could just keep it. Maybe I'd like to take it apart and see how it was built inside.
I think we just hold on to it and sell it when we get out of the garden.
I don't know who would buy this.
An authentic Chinese music box. Come on.
Oh, it's Chinese, is it now? And I turn into like
that was just a joke, Harold, because we're not actually in China.
I just China to me.
I just do the like.
I look at the carnivorous for conifers. Sorry.
I just do a serenity now breath.
All right. So you walk on.
Yeah.
And who takes the music box?
Sounds like Albertus has it.
Yeah, I'd like to have it. Put it away in my pack. And as we're walking like away through this forest, I'm like, Albertus starts like whistling like the Stravinsky music, like completely atonally.
And I think this is the last shot before the break. Like the light of the torches in the lantern gets darker and darker when you go further away, and we just hear the atonal whistling of Albertus Blumenthal. 5 minutes, guys.
Okay.
Yep, sure. See you in 5. Hey.
Hey, so we're back.
It's like 32 degrees here or something in London. It's really hot. So I've just set up this massive like tower fan next to me. So if it's making loads of noise, tell me and I'll turn it down a bit. But I don't know if it's picking up on my mic or not.
Your health is more important than the sound.
I don't hear it, so.
Oh, cool. Also, if I start looking like I'm in like an 80s pop video, my hair starts flying everywhere. That's the reason why.
Hairography.
So, yeah, we fade in on.
Sag at the back?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, it was on her. Never mind. I just did click on her to see her.
So we hear the weird whistling of Albertus Blumenthal, and when you whistle the song, you realize that there's a mathematical like beauty to it. It
the golden ratio, perhaps.
It's not the golden ratio. It's like a purely rational organizing of tones with no regard of like it's always repeating 10 tones, and then there's a certain segment or sequence of tones in reverse or in pairs, but they have to play this 10 tones before they can start the next sequence, which is like an odd, inhuman concept. But anyways, so I assume we see Vincenzo still, tapping along and looking around.
Yep.
And you do see like everything outside of the cone of your torch is utter darkness. But something in the darkness reflects like a little bit away from where you're actually heading, reflects the light of your torch.
Like a mirror or a glass or something like that?
Yeah, maybe something metal, you would assume.
I'll put up my hand like this to indicate everyone should stop. Yeah, exactly. And then I will point at the shiny metal thing. And I'll say, Wailing Pain, why don't you go check that out?
Sounds good. Sure. I will investigate.
Because I have 3 hit points, yo. So
yeah, I've got 9. I'm probably the beefiest here. So yeah, I had a really good rest. It was a good one. Yeah, I'll probe this metallic sound.
Do you have a light source on you? Because where Vincenzo and Alberto stand, there is this cone of light. But as soon as you step outside of the cone, it's just like in the middle of the night in a dark forest.
And to be clear, it was a metal thing we could see. Like it was something we're seeing, right?
It's not really something you can. It's like in the apart from the or aside from the path you're on. Something caught the light while you were moving. It is now gone again. You don't really see.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not constant. Okay.
I have a torch and I have a lantern.
Nice. Which one do you go like?
Yeah, double it. No. I think I like the idea of like a lantern hanging from my walking stick. So I will do that. That way I can like plant it sometimes and mess around with stuff.
Yeah, so you approach this construction. It's definitely like a man-made construction. You see rails the way like miners would use it probably, and on it there is difficult to describe. It has like 2 handlebars which are tilted in a diagonal, and it has room for about 4 people. but it's, you can't really use it to transport stuff because the construction with the two handles is in the middle of everything, so it's difficult to analyze what it is.
Is it on wheels or something then?
It is on wheels.
Okay.
Yeah, this
And
seems
the
like
bronze
a job.
handlebars, sorry, probably reflected the light.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think this seems like a job for Albertus. This is a mechanical contraption, Albertus. This is right up your alley.
Yeah, it looks very intriguing indeed. So yeah, I'd like to inspect it. Get my little my sort of toolkit out and start prodding around and seeing what this thing's made of.
Well, it's definitely made from hardwood, bronze, and steel. The handles look as if they have been used like yesterday and polished. And if you like, what do you want to like? This is what you see. Do you want to find out anything like more deep about this thing, how it works, if it still works, or?
Yeah, I think we just get on it. I think we get on it and go. Like I'm an old man. I don't fancy trekking all the way to this maze.
So I assume that you already discerned that it is some kind of how do you think that it moves? Do you have to push it?
So there's no kind of like a mechanism, almost like a chain or like sort of pedals or something like that to move it. No, or maybe like the handle. But does the handlebar like maybe like crank like a like an old sort of minecart type thing? Like, is there some kind of mechanism to? Yeah.
I would say make I don't know, an intelligence roll, and obviously your vocation as a tinkerer gives you an advantage.
Okay, cool. So I roll 2. Cool. Yeah, so I rolled a 10, so that's dead on. So that's my intelligence is 10 as well. So is that a critical success?
Yeah, that's a critical success. Woo! I think the extra is what did you roll? You rolled exactly your stat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and also a pair, because that would like.
No, it was a 10 and a 20 I rolled, and 10 is my stat.
So I think first of all, you know how the thing works. You do have to press down on the handlebars, obviously, but you can also like construct the thing. You would be able to draw the specifics of these thing, and could probably sell it, rebuild it, and potentially make a fortune.
Or be altruistic and gift it into the world.
Yeah,
as an inventor.
Also possible.
So yeah, I'll tell everyone. I was like, I've shout out like, Eureka! I think I've got it. Yeah, everyone climb aboard, and we pump this handle here, and you can steer it like this, and as long as you don't have to go up any steep hills, I think we're going to be just fine.
There's also some kind of construction where you can. Well, there's actually a lantern on the front of this thing that you can light. So everybody climbs on board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isabel kind of flaps down and like gets like right on the prow of the thing, like kind of like our sort of talisman.
she's the little like what do you call that on the ship? The I can't think of the name.
Maidenhead, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see what's happening on your way out of the the woods. Oh wow! So while you are, who's moving this thing?
Sounds like Albertus.
Oh, come on, I'm like a 60-year-old retired professor. That's really cruel if you're making me pump it.
I think I'm doing it.
I'll pump it up and down. Let's do it.
Yeah, and Harold helps. So Harold's on one side, Vincenzo on the other, so there's place for someone sitting in the front, and then there's place for someone sitting in the back. Who's sitting in the back?
I think that'd definitely be Albertus. You know, he's done his bit now. You know, he's got the thing working. He can take a break now. Sit in the back, get a rest.
So while this thing is moving, you see that the rails behind you starts crumbling, and like the whole thing is disappearing into the ground. And where the rails were, there's like a ravine opening, and it does make like a rumbling sound that everybody can hear.
Oh shit. We're gonna have to make this thing jump and grab bananas. I can already tell where this is going.
It's behind you, so ahead everything is okay, I guess. So I was.
So basically, can we just get this right? So like the trail that we're leaving behind us is basically like the ground completely collapsing and like leaving like this.
The ground is collapsing. There's a ravine opening. Trees are falling into the abyss. It is as if behind you reality is quickly dissolving.
We're all in
So
a dream.
out of character, so to speak, I will have to roll a couple of things. Just go wild with the role playing while I compile the next location. So what is the topic? What do you talk about? Are you just all
Boy, I hope we don't die.
What
Topic.
the devil is this?
I think I say not seeing is a flower.
I am just busy pumping up and down. I'm looking at the two people who are not doing anything, Albertus and Wailing Pain, and I'm saying, the look on your faces tells me there's something going on. Do you care to share it with us?
I don't think I tell you, because that would, I don't know.
Distract me from my work.
Yeah, I'm just like, don't stop pumping.
If I had $1 or a lira, I suppose. All right.
It's fine, don't worry. We just seem to be leaving a slightly turbulent wake behind us. Nothing to worry about. But of course, I've been afflicted and can't tell a lie, so it comes out as like.
That's right, you can't lie. What do you say instead?
So it comes out as pump harder, or we're all going to fall into a infinite chasm of doom that we seem to be appearing behind us.
And I'm realizing that you're probably not talking about some sort of spiritual metaphor, begin to furiously pump up and down. I go as fast and steady as I can.
So Harold, I say, does this remind you of sailing on the open waves at all?
Reminds me of the time that I almost died. Yes.
You must have seen many things out on the open ocean.
Like
strange
water.
things happen at sea.
Not much, actually. Not compared to this. I always thought I'd go to China, but I didn't know it would be in this way.
kind of love Harold.
Harold, just keep pumping. I don't know where this is going, but
I trust
wherever.
you. It's your land.
All right, so everybody hears still or again this this rumbling sound, and it definitely gets louder. And you might remember the first time you entered the gardens where the statues stood, and it's definitely the same kind of sound. And again, you feel, or you actually see a rippling going, like the trees ripple as if they are, like there's a wave going through it. And it goes through the moving, how do you call that? A draisine? That was what I would call it.
A ravine?
No, the machine you're sitting on.
Oh.
Like it's the word in my language, probably from French.
Draisine. I think it's
I'm
just
imagining like a mine cart. Is it not a mine?
A mine cart, yeah, sort of a mine cart.
Yeah.
So the rippling goes through the ripples go through the mine cart as well. And I would ask you all to make a saving throw, which is ST.
Oh, excellent. I really want to fail this because interesting stuff happens.
How do I do this again?
You need to roll under ST. So on the left side.
On a D20.
Let's see. Character sheet. Oh, you have nothing there. Let's see. Agatha the Strong.
also it's called a trolley.
Actually, according to Wikipedia, it's also called a draisine.
Ooh.
And we all know Wikipedia is the most trustworthy of sources.
Well, the English word for it when it hasn't been appropriated is trolley, though.
So
fair enough.
Agatha, your AV, which is your attack value, is 11.
Okay.
Your saving throw, which is ST, is a 5, which is very low.
Oh boy. Well, I rolled a 9, so I don't think I did it.
You didn't make it.
Nope.
So
I made mine.
Le fail is a fail, yes. And Paul?
Yeah, I failed as well.
Awesome.
Bye, suckers.
So let's see. We have to roll plus depth, which is already 6. So for
I hope Mittens goes down there and laughs at your corpses.
Jesus, Agatha or Harold, actually.
What am I supposed to do? Sorry.
Hold on a second.
All right.
Yeah, so Vincenzo, you resisted this weird attack on your mind and body for the second time. So what do you think? Why is that?
I honestly think it's because, this sounds funny, but I think it's because I'm so shallow. Like, my character is so utterly without depth that things like this just don't affect me, right? I don't possess a very, very like nuanced sense of my own emotions or psychology. So I think that's basically the deal, right?
There's a little bit of book reading, sorry, and then the last is an 8. So the only thing you immediately see is that Harold and Whispering Pain, your skin has changed a little bit. It gives you like a slightly, very, very slightly greenish tint. And then Harold, what you realize is that while you are pumping, you have the impulse to count it. You need to count how much, like you need to count the rhythm. Otherwise, it makes you crazy. And you can't skip it. You can't not count. And then for Albertus, that is a problem. So you feel an itch. You feel an itch where Isabel sits. You definitely. So, what are you holding in your hands at the moment?
I'm holding that music box. I got having a fiddle with it.
So, yeah, you're whistling the tune, and when it stops, you need to wind it again. And when you do, you feel this itch again on your fingertips. Oh, hold on. The key was from Silver, wasn't it? I think, yeah, it's mainly your shoulder where Isabel sits. It's this itchy feeling.
Okay, and I'll sort of reach up and sort of scratch it.
Yeah, and Isabel lifts one claw and then the other to let you scratch your shoulder. All right, and while how do you react to that? Like anyone, the counting, for example, Harold?
Oh, I'm shouting. 101, 102.
I fail as well.
Yeah, so
you're green, right?
Yeah, you have this greenish.
Oh, I missed that.
Tint. Harold as well.
Oh, I have a green.
Yeah, you're both green, and Harold is also counting.
OCD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Compulsively. All right. So the next thing is that Whispering Pain, you're sitting in the front. You definitely smell something burning. Something is burning ahead. And obviously you all smell it a second later.
Okay, that's really big. At first I was like, am I also having a stroke? Or okay. So okay, I'll say something's burning ahead, maybe slow down. As Harold is like 102, 103.
Yeah, you need to shout over the counting, I guess. So what do you do?
Ahead there's fire or something burning.
I mean, are we able to maneuver this thing, or?
I mean, you can definitely hold the handle to because it would otherwise it would pump, and then you sort of slow it down.
Yeah, let's just do that. Let's stop.
We can let go and just let it run its course.
I think we should
stop?
let's pull back on it and stop.
No, I mean, like, or do I feel the compulsion to keep?
Do you have to keep pumping?
No, you feel the compulsion to count countables. So if there's nothing to count, you're okay with it. But as soon as something has a rhythm to it or a number attached to it, you need to go through it and count it.
Okay. Yeah. I can stop with you.
Yeah, you can maybe write that down on your character sheet somewhere, obsessed with counting. So you stop the trolley, and you can actually feel that there's some kind of heat coming from the direction in where the rails go.
And it's still super dark beyond, right?
And it's like the trees are now further apart. It's still night, but you can see the moonbeams through the canopy, and you can definitely see ahead a glow in the like in front of you somewhere, maybe in a couple of hundred feet.
Maybe
I
the
guess-
maze is burning.
Yeah.
Yeah, did it seem like the maze was this far away when Harold was like looking for it or looking at it
No.
over the tree?
No, it
Okay,
didn't.
all right, that's good to know. And just to be perfectly clear, like, is there anything like on either side of the rail, like, or is it like just dead space, ravine on either side, or could we like get out and go?
Oh, you can definitely get out.
Okay.
The ravine opened up behind you.
Behind us. Okay, good.
In front of you and to the left and the right, there's still just a forest. But you can also see that behind you, the ravine is closing again, and where the wood has been, let me see. There's now like the trees disappeared, and
also, did anything happen to Jan because of the magic?
Jan is actually holding is really, really scared, and he's a relatively small. He's holding the leg of Whispering Pain, not looking at the disappearing scenery around him. So behind you, what did it roll? You can see that where the trees disappeared. I think you can't see that far back. It's just that there's like a void of where the trees had been, and something replaced it, but it's far behind you. So before you, the forest is thinning. The rails are ending maybe I don't know, like 100 feet ahead of you, and there's this glow further in the direction where you would go.
I guess we check it out.
Yeah, I'll get out.
Yep.
I want to see what the glowing is.
So you slowly you leave the trolley, or you drive to the end of the rails.
Now I feel like we should drive to the end of the rails.
Easy. So the rails end where the forest ends, and before you see like it's getting really, really hot. There's a hole in the ground, and from that hole there's like ash flying up. It smells like burnt. The air is hot, and the grass around this pit is also burned.
Do you think I would over the course of my travels, have smelt whatever is burning in this pit, perhaps?
It does smell like almost a volcano. It's like molten rock. What is weird is that in that space around the fire pit, so there's on one side there's a brick wall, there's a hedge like on the other side of this space, and on the left side there's just like a wild meadow. But in between this space between brick and hedge and meadow, there's also, it looks like silver, I don't know, like almost.
Did you guys lose Horst?
Yeah.
Yeah, just lost Horst.
Yeah,
Say that again, Horst.
like
We lost you
gesturing.
briefly.
When did you lose me? I was in the zone.
It was like the last 10 seconds. Like you were just like something with the meadow and.
Yeah. So in between the space, there's silvery I hate the word when in the 10 seconds where you couldn't hear me. It's like sculptures, silvery, super thin sculptures in intricate forms, jutting out of the ground around this fire pit.
I whisper to Jan, well, I certainly hope we don't find the charred remains of your brothers in that pit. Pat him on the head and trek forward to investigate.
So
I burst
Jan,
out laughing and I clap Jan on the back.
Jan definitely is scared of Vincenzo. Every time Vincenzo says something to him, it's something creepy or like cynical.
It's because he's not a cat.
That's true. So yeah, you approach the pit.
I don't know. I like the looks of the meadow.
I just want to look down in the pit and see what's down in there. Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
What is the rest doing?
Yeah, I quite like. I thought like to investigate this hatch in the brick wall that you were talking about.
Yeah, so there's a brick wall to the right, and then there's a hatch in front of you, and to the left there's just an open meadow with wild flowers and knee-high grass.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
So Albertus is investigating the brick wall or the hatch?
The hatch, definitely.
Vincenzo's approaching the pit. A whispering pain.
Well, Harold, what do you want to do?
Well, if I see Vincenzo heading towards the hole to hell, I'm going to say, "Now hold on," and I'm going to take out my rope and then just tie the 1 second, and then I'm going to tie it around his ankle. Okay.
Well, I'm not going down in the pit, but okay. I will take your aid.
If things happen, you'd like to be buried whole, right?
I feel like if I fall into the flaming fire pit, the least of my concerns is going to be how quickly I get pulled out of it. I think.
Well, it's up to you, but the rope is now there.
Very well, very well. You are very forward thinking. I can tell you're a man of the sea, looking out for your shipmates, Harold. Very, very, very good. All right.
So it's actually like freaking hot. If you stand next,
I can't even get that close.
if you're next to the fire pit, it's you feel the heat, especially in your face and your eyes. Your eyes dry. There's this red yellow glow coming from the pit itself. Flickering light. Around the pit itself are stone slabs reinforced with iron, and from as I said, from the pit there's hot, like super hot air emanating. when you do look down, you see that the pit is about 50 feet deep, and at the bottom there's just liquid fire, almost like a plasma or something. And around it, everything's burned, obviously. So that's what Vincenzo sees. And Harold, are you behind Vincenzo, like holding the rope? And then Albertus, when you walk to the hedge, you definitely pass these silvery things, and you can, I don't know, you would assume that they are man-made, although they look like the shape looks grown.
Okay,
Looks almost.
because the first place that we came into in the gardens had these statues, and they were of like sort of thin, elongated figures. Are these similar, or are they even more kind of distorted?
They're definitely distorted. They don't resemble anything. They don't resemble like people or something, or even.
Okay.
They're more like abstract forms. They're very filigree, like. Yeah.
But they're made out of silver.
Then it looks like pure silver.
Okay, I think I'm gonna be distracted by these statues then, rather than that boring old hatch.
I mean, you can. It's while you. There's also these shapes next to the hedge. You can look over the hedge, and you see that behind it is still like this wild meadow, and maybe a footpath leading through it.
Okay, but yeah, I'm going to investigate the statues then instead. Yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna run my hand like over the statue, try and get a feel for like the what they're made out of. If it's valuable, if it's real silver.
Yeah, make a wisdom check just to see how much information you get.
Okay. And would I roll that at advantage? Because obviously I work with a lot of like precious metals, like in my workshop.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'll roll 2. Yep, I scored a 9. My wisdom is 16, so I passed.
So, I mean, the one you are looking at the moment is a bit scorched from the heat, obviously. And the more you look at them, the less you think they are Art Nouveau shaped sculptures, and actually they are some kind of silver plants. Like it is made from silver, but they have an organic feel to it.
Well, organic, as in they're about to spring to life and kill me.
Maybe they don't move. I mean, that's the conclusion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm starting to feel a little bit trepidatious about these statues. I think they're more than just like they're more than just incidental art pieces casually arranged around a burning fire death pit. So I'm going to suggest that we move on quite quickly rather than hanging around these things.
I say, what? I'm so close to the meadow, I can't hear you.
So Whispering Pain. You just see that the meadow goes on for some time. So the plane, there's no pathway or something leading through the meadow, and you can't see anything behind it. But it's definitely a path you could take.
Yeah, and otherwise it's like pit or the hatch, right?
Yeah, or climb over the hedge, or actually, while you when you approach the meadow, the grass seems to I don't know. It's like walking. It is as if the plants step aside for you, so that there are this wild flowers in all the colors. There's the spring smell of the grass, and when you walk through it, it's like a wave moving through and around you. You can move through plants, is what it is.
Cool. I like that. I'll wait for people to catch up, but for now we'll wait at the entry. See if people want to feel up some more statues or open a hatch.
So I think the first to hear it is probably Albertus. There is like a strange ticking under the ground. It's not the grinding of gears that you have heard before. It's more like the ticking of, I don't know, like a clock.
That's your thing, isn't it, Albertus?
It sure is, yeah. I can hear this ticking, and I'm gonna get down on the ground and put my ear against the ground and listen to the ticking. Is it steady? Is it like clockwork, or is it erratic?
It is steady like clockwork. It is not erratic. And Harold, you hear the ticking as well. How do you feel about that?
I'm counting.
So Albertus, you don't. It's you get the strange feeling. It's like a countdown. I'm not. Maybe it's your affinity to clocks that makes you think like that.
Unhelpfully, Harold is counting up.
57, and I'm shouting. I think a part of my compulsion is to shout it.
It feels wrong, Albertus. He should count down.
Yeah. I'm thinking if this seems like some kind of countdown, and we're basically standing right next to what looks like a inverted volcano, then logically, like Occam's razor says that when this countdown reaches its end, this volcano is going to erupt. And Vincenzo, are you still dangling your pretty little face like over the side of this volcano thing right now?
Yeah, I think I have. I'm looking down in the fire pit, and I don't think I've noticed the ticking or anything yet. And I hear Harold counting, but Harold's a madman, so whatever. And I look back, looking at the pit, and I have this like blank, terrified expression on my face, and I say, Jan, no matter what you do, don't come look in the pit.
I think Jan is intrigued. He makes a step away from Whispering Pain. Whispering Pain, do you try to stop him?
It's more fun if I don't even notice. Like I'm probing the grass a bit or something, and then he just kind of does the little skipping away and shit.
Not sure if he's skipping. He's like very cautiously getting closer. What is it?
No one your age should have to see such a thing. No.
And he comes closer.
Jan, this is the last thing I'm going to tell you. The last time, do not look in the pit, Jan. Do not.
He's not standing next to you. He stands like a good 3 or 4 meters away from you. And he leans on his forefoot, like on his left leg, and he looks down.
58, 59, and I tie the other end of the rope around his ankle, and then so I'm just holding like with them one on either side.
And I
60,
ruffle Jan's
61.
hair. I ruffle Jan's hair and I say, I'm just kidding. Your brothers aren't in there. I'm sure they're perfectly safe and not at all scared for their lives or running in terror. All right, let's go. I grab Jan. I get up.
Yeah, I think it's about time that we ran away in terror, because I have a feeling that something is going to blow very, very soon. Hear that ticking? Hear that ticking?
I hear it now. Once I am not listening to Harold's counting, yelling, screaming numbers from behind me.
And so, let's see. So while you're moving, where to where Whispering Pain stands?
Yeah, I'm gonna head. The meadow seems safe. The flowery meadow.
Let's run to the meadow.
What can go wrong in a flowery meadow? Come on.
So while you move through the meadow, so first of all, Harold, you have the same sensation. The grass is moving around you. It's almost like, I don't know. They're recognizing you and making way for you. And then you can definitely hear grunting from the woods. And let's see. There's something emerging from the woods.
Wait. Is this for me?
This is for everyone. So for you, Harold, is that the sensation of the grass moving away. And for everyone, you hear grunting from the woods. But you're running away anyways, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're just running because we're all convinced apparently this is going to blow up. So,
all right. So while you're moving through this this beautiful grass landscape with wildflowers, and all the colors of the rainbow, how are you interacting with each other while I get to the next location?
Well, that was a close call.
Have we gone farther away enough that I can stop counting?
Yeah, you don't hear the ticking anymore.
What was in the pit?
Yes, child. Do say. What was in the pit? Oh, sorry. You're busy.
Oh, no. Jan is not busy. I'm busy. So Jan, he looks at the ground the whole time. And he says, I think it was the entrance to hell. It's where we all go when we do something wrong, right?
That's right, child.
Yep.
Got a good head on your shoulders. And I'm gonna lift him up and like put it on my shoulders.
Yeah, I think he finds a liking, what's it called, to you. And yeah, he sits there on your shoulders and he puts his arms around your neck. But he's quiet from now on.
Well, I'm glad we're in this completely tranquil meadow now. I am fairly certain that the two of you are more green than I remember you being.
What? Ah, turning into a Chinaman.
You've
I
turned
look at you.
green.
What?
You have a strange
Oh, 'cause I'm-
perspective on cultures and people, Harold. I don't quite understand it. But yes, you and Whispering Pain have gone quite green. This place is very, very strange. I think we need to get out of here as soon as possible.
I agree, though I've seen no treasure so far. I feel like I've been misled.
Perhaps I'm the one turning into a British person.
Perhaps the treasure is the friendship we have all discovered amongst ourselves.
That could be
Except with
possible.
Jan.
What, man? You can't be serious. I need some gold.
Well,
Got debts to pay.
Dr. Albertus was saying that he could replicate, he could build these with his machines, and
The devil box.
well, you know, he's very talented, and I'm sure we will get a 10% finder's fee on whatever he ends up doing with that brilliant research. So,
yeah, oh yes. When I roll out industrial production of the motorized hand cart, I'm sure that I will. And I go to say, share the profits with everyone involved. And I say, I'm sure I will keep the money all to myself and not give you a penny, you worthless cretins. Oh.
I turn. You must be talking about the rest of them. And I turn and, well.
Now come now, old man, and I'm going to sling an arm around your shoulder. On this trip, we've been protecting you, so we should be allotted a bit of that share.
Oh, see, I just can't tell a lie, can I? So I say, but brawn is one thing, but brains is another thing. And unfortunately, you don't have the brains, do you?
Well, you need both on a trip, don't you? If you don't have bronze, you would have died 7 times over.
Well, I don't think you're going to be much of a worthwhile bodyguard to me, seeing as you look like you've got some very bad case of gangrene setting in.
Well, just because I'm turning into a Chinaman doesn't mean I don't have the same strength and the same harpoon.
So while you are talking, I think, again, Vincenzo, who normally takes the lead and is the most perceptive, sees like a big statue, and it's a marble statue of a unicorn, and it sits on a big like what's it called, like a what are you tapping all the time? You're tapping at, Vincenzo? The base of a statue.
Oh, the plinth. Yeah, the plinth.
But it's much bigger. It looks like a mausoleum or something.
Oh.
And when you step out from the meadow, you can also see it is surrounded by like formal. It looks like a formal English garden with low hedges, flower beds in between, a big rectangular block of marble, and on top is this like a horse with a horn. It's 12 feet across. But the weird thing is that the unicorn is moving, and it's not moving as if it's alive. It is turning in. It's turning like figures on. You know that some churches have these elaborate figures that move around in a certain with a clock, and it's the same way.
Sure,
So it moves every like 3 minutes. It ticks a bit further. You can also see that in the ground itself, there are you can see like exposed clockwork parts that turn.
Well, this must be a really special moment for you, Albertus. We'll give Albertus a minute.
Oh, sorry about that. We got a distraction there.
I was saying this must be a very special moment for you, Albertus. I mean, look at this place.
Oh, I'm practically salivating with
Yes,
excitement.
I can see.
Look at the workmanship here on display. This is like on a scale I've never seen before.
But it is a very special place for Vincenzo as well. That's the biggest plinth you can imagine.
Certainly, there is something inside that little building that this unicorn is standing on top of. Is there actually an entrance to it, Horst, or is it just a?
It doesn't look like there's a door or anything. It looks like a massive piece of block of marble.
I'm going to begin tapping that thing. I'm tapping it. So.
And I kid you not, it does sound hollow.
Good. Yes. I turn back and I just point at all of you. Yes. See this?
Invocation.
And just as an aside for the people watching, I rolled an 8 and plus the depth, which is an 8, it gives us a 16. Look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
Crowbar, pickaxe, what do we have? Let's do it. We're cracking this thing open.
Yep. Do I still have that crowbar? Or
yeah, you can still be carrying my crowbar. Yeah.
Sure. All right, I'm coming over.
Does anyone have a pickaxe? Pickaxe, anyone? No. All right. Well, I'll take whatever we got, and I'm going to begin chipping away.
Can I use my martial arts fist to like hit it exactly where it's weakest and shatter it?
Wow.
Let me see.
It's my thing.
So the thing is, that would be a feat that aligns with your. I think you are attuned to your fists. Is that true?
Yeah.
But that is not the active attunement. I think your active attunement is with your stick.
Oh, can I have swapped it since I slept?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, no. I'm sorry. I don't want to be like a ruin your fun or anything, but you do have to study for a day. You can't just sleep and switch it. It's like you sit there, make your katana or whatever it is. That was probably the wrong word, but
yeah.
You need to study and attune to the thing. Sleeping doesn't do it, but you can use your superhuman feat to break the marble with your stick.
Cool. Okay, I do that.
Which would, like, you have this one slot. That would be your slot for the day.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
So while Vincenzo, uses his tool to pry open the. So how does it look like? Whispering Pain. When Whispering Pain does his like superhuman martial arts trick.
Yeah, I think I tap it in multiple spots and then I nod, and then suddenly I my hands dart very quickly and smash it in the exact right place, and it cracks for a little bit and then shatters. What, Jason?
Nice. I was just gonna say, I think as you're tapping it, like looking for the weak spots, I keep saying it's hollow. I'm telling you, it's hollow. How many more times do I have to tell you it's hollow?
And then the marble breaks. And behind it, lo and behold, there is a grave.
Oh shit, dead people.
So there are 4 skeletons just lying on the ground.
God damn it.
And for the rest, the place does look pretty empty.
I can't possibly overstate my disappointment at this turn of events.
I'm like staring after Whispering Pain, and then I turn to Vincenzo and say, "Do you think once my transformation is complete, I can do that too?"
I'm going to ignore you right now, Harold. You're a whaler, Harold. You'll always be a whaler. You were built for the sea, and that's it.
Actually,
You'll die at sea.
I was raised for the cloth, but that's neither here nor there. This tomb seems very empty for something that's made of marble. I'm going to stride in.
The skeletons aren't animated, right?
No, they lie dead on the floor.
Okay. I carefully walk in to avoid stepping on the skeletons. Heart rate racing.
Yeah, so is there just nothing in there aside from these bones?
So what do you exactly do? Just look around. If you just look around, it looks as if there are just these four skeletons. You can, search the place.
Yeah, I'm gonna look around. There's got to be something in here. This is absurd.
I'm looking at the bones to see if they have rings on their fingers.
So I would say the question is who finds the good stuff first, and I would say there's a super cool mechanic in the game which is an auction. I don't know if this merits an auction, or we can just roll on your wisdom.
I'd quite like to see the auction mechanic then. If you
I think I would too. Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Oh man! So what we do is you roll a d6 in secret. So don't use the roll for your party.
Don't use the die roller. Okay. You can if you guys want to. You can do a roll with Slackbot if you wish to have a private. I think it's.
I'm gonna roll my breakout dice.
Wait, what do I roll?
Just a d6.
Oh, all right.
And then like private message you it or something, or
I just rolled it on the roll for your party, and that says 3.
No, don't tell the result.
Yeah, we can't tell it. Yeah, we're not supposed to know.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Roll again. Okay. That's not a problem. I have to look for the.
I have to go to the die. Hold on.
You could also roll on Discord if you wanted to. You don't have your sweet breakout dice on you, Agatha?
I never got one.
Snap. No breakout love from you.
Yeah, I was selling it last year, and I kept on telling everyone how awesome it is, and I just never bought it myself.
Okay, I have my number.
Awesome. So you add your number in your mind to your wisdom stat. So that is the your new stat for this auction. So let's say you have a 12 of wisdom and you rolled a 6. Now you have an 18. Yeah, we're all cool with this. So you add your stat onto your you add the result of the die roll to your stat. That's your new thing. What we now do is we make auctions and in terms. So for example, Agatha could say, "I bet 1," which means she will roll under her new wisdom stat, but above 1. And then Jason could say, "Hold on a second, I bet you 2," which means he says he will roll under his new stat, but above 2. Every time you raise, you have to describe how you up the ante. So how you are you pushing a herald away, or are you getting down on your knees? And the thing is that if you start very high, like if you say 10, then obviously that is a bad start, because now you have to roll above 10, but under your new wisdom score. Everybody's cool?
Yeah. And in the fiction, we're just like pushing and shoving at each other.
Yeah, exactly. You do stuff either to hinder the other or to get you some kind of advantage.
Okay, very good.
And I would say we make an like in the fiction. I think Harold entered the place first, because that's what I got from the description. So, what is your first bet?
2, and I'm striding around and poking at things with a crowbar.
And Vincenzo, Jason.
I bet 5. And I am, as Harold is poking around at things, I'm actually I keep like surreptitiously blowing out his lantern. So he has to relight it every time.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do we hear a 6?
Actually, I wanted to ask, like, what is the advantage of like continuously betting? Like,
what happens if you fail?
You want the stuff. You can also say, you meet the 5, and then we just roll and see if you roll over above 5 and under your. The advantage is, so if you say I don't, then Jason has to roll under his new score, but above 5, whereas you, and he fails, let's say he fails, then you just roll under your score, but over 2. But the thing is that the person with the highest bet is allowed to roll first.
Oh, and if they roll and they succeed, then they just get it.
Yeah, if Jason rolls and succeeds, he will Vincenzo will find the treasure.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll go with the 6. And what am I doing? I am.
So the last thing that happened is Vincenzo secretly blew your lantern out.
So I don't actually have a lantern.
Okay.
Whatever lantern, maybe I just borrowed it.
It was a lantern.
Yeah,
you borrowed a lantern from
we
one
borrowed
of
a lantern.
Yeah. I relight it, and then I'm now just like, I'm like totally ignoring him and just crawling around the ground and looking at every single crack. That's 6.
How do you you're distracted because you have to relight the lantern. How do you prevent Vincenzo to get the advantage?
Oh, okay. When I'm crouching down, I also trip him.
Can I bet too, or?
Yeah, why not?
I bet 8, and while they're on the ground, I go to actually looking around at stuff, taking advantage of them being fools.
You do have to roll your d6 though.
I did roll it, and so I add that to my wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And then I have to roll above
over the 8 and below your new score. So Vincenzo, there's a new contender.
Yeah.
Albertus is staying out of this. He's standing above this tomb with his arms folded, looking at you 3 idiots scrambling around the floor.
I think you should have to do something
shaking
more
his head.
I think Whispering Pain should have to do something more aggressive than just I look around while they're flailing around.
Yeah, well, that's actually true. So you need to, because at the moment, it's Vincenzo's on the floor, tripped by Harold, and Harold is already in the room, whereas you come there as the third person. So you need to prevent Harold, I guess, or get some other kind of advantage.
I think when I came up, I maybe there's something heavy in the room or something like that, and I topple
That's
that
the
over.
skeletons.
Maybe a skeleton falls, like I cause a distraction, so that they look back. But then I'm quite quick because, you know, I'm a monk, and then I'm using that distraction for both of them.
So I have to ask Jason if you accept that as a.
Yeah, that'll work. That's better than just I'm looking around.
So we have an 8. Anyone betting higher? So it's Jason's turn, actually.
Boy, I hold.
Okay, cool. And Agatha? You don't
Yeah.
have to. You can also hope that Fraser fails and that Jason fails.
Wouldn't I go after Fraser? Because
Yeah, I have the lowest bid so far.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Sure.
true.
Sure, I'll hold.
Okay, so Fraser, reveal your new score and roll under it and over 8.
Okay, so I add it to my wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So it's 14.
Ooh, wow, between 14 and 9 you have to roll.
Yeah, and I roll a d20.
Yeah.
Yes.
I rolled a d6. I rolled a 20. I got a crit. Well, like a.
Okay,
didn't get a
so
crit, but I
then
got a 20.
it's Agatha's turn. You have to roll over a 6, I guess.
Yeah,
Was that
and
your last bit?
yeah, that was a 6. And my my wisdom threshold was 16.
Oh wow.
That's doable.
Yes. Let's see. Yep. It's a 7.
Nice, perfect.
Perfect.
So
Hi.
what you find is a glass eye.
I pick it up.
Womp womp.
Well,
that
you
was
say
worth it.
that. You say that. But when you pick it up, so what gives away that this is a magical glass eye?
I think when I pick it up, I feel immediately very, very cold. And there's like the scent, I guess, that I wouldn't know, but it's of lilies. Yeah, it's very strong. And I think probably only I smell it.
So the eye, let's see.
Oh. Can I ask a question about that? Where, Harold, where did you actually find the eye in the end? Like,
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, it must come from one of the skeletons, actually.
Yes.
But like, how does it look like when you scramble on the floor and?
Yeah, so I think this is right after I tripped Vincenzo, and I'm like, and then I like look down and I see in the mouth of the skull just something glinting, and then I pick it out. And it's an eye in a mouth.
love it.
I just like grumble. Oh my god. This once again, I cannot overstate how disappointing this entire situation has been for me. Just really, really a really low moment. Very, very, very bottom drawer. I get up and I leave.
All right, and while you pick the glass eye up and you look at the lantern, you can see that it's like a prisma reflecting the light in in all directions, and like pulling the what's it called, the spectrum of the colors apart. And what it does is you can see invisible things now when you hold it in front of your eye.
Do I see anything in this crypt that we've now desecrated?
A bunch of people laughing at us.
Well,
Like in Mulan.
no, you can't see anything special in that in the crypt. So, anything else doing anything?
Well, I'm curious about this unicorn. Like, it seems to be like on some kind of timer or mechanism, and that makes me think that it must correspond to something, right? So would there be a way of like possibly deducing what that is, like what it's like tracking, or what it is, what it's meant to be doing here? If it's just moving around, I'll accept that. But like, is there something else going on possibly?
No, it's like the weird thing is that the clockwork parts that stick out of the ground, they move in the same rhythm than the rhythm, by the way, Harold, in the same rhythm that the unicorn turns. So everything is in sync.
So during that whole last scene, you were also counting out loud. Throw that detail in there.
BT dogs.
That would have been a good way to describe how, for example, Whispering Pain tried to distract him by like shouting out random numbers or something.
Yeah, that'd been good, actually.
Anyway, so just rolled a 9, which is interesting. Cannot. Oh yeah, interesting. So while you Albertus, what have you done all the time? You have looked at how they try to hinder each other. Was that all, or did you investigate the place, or did something else?
Yeah, I imagine I would just like tut at their childish display of greed and competitiveness, and then stroll off and basically start fiddling with this clockwork mechanism that they got. That's turning the unicorn round.
Yeah. So while you stand there and you look at, do you look at the clockwork on the ground or the clockwork on the marble block?
On the marble block near the unicorn, definitely, because that's probably where the main mechanism is going to be. Like,
yeah. So the unicorn itself, it sits on this clockwork wheel that turns around, and there's like a counter wheel that propels it, or that makes it move. And while you're standing there, you can you have a vantage point, obviously, and you can see that one of these low hedges actually gives way to another brick path, like the one that you walked between the fruit trees and the shooting range.
Sorry, can I interrupt you there? My partner's just set off the smoke alarm in the kitchen. Can I go and sort it out? I'm sorry. Can we take a break?
Shall we make a 5-minute break?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. My partner was cooking in the kitchen and accidentally set off a smoke alarm, so I had to go and save the day.
Yeah, I know that feel. I've done that a lot of times. Actually, the place that I work, it's a cinema, but it's attached to a residential building, and so whenever there's a smoke alarm goes off, then our alarm also goes off, and it's like,
okay.
and it's just like it happens quite often, and it's always like all the patrons are like, "Whoa, whoa! Like, what's this alarm?" I'm like, don't worry, someone probably just burnt their toast.
Oh, I know, it's a nightmare. I recently went to visit Toronto, and I was staying like at Airbnb. And we were there for, like the first night we got there, we got let into this Airbnb, and we were like, "Oh, great, it's really nice." Went to bed because we were like completely jet lagged, and it was in this big like 10-story like block, like apartment block, and the fire alarm went off for the whole block at about 3:30 in the morning. And yeah, the entire block had to like evacuate, and all the fire engines turned up and everything, and we were like standing outside like in our pants basically. Like, oh, it was a nightmare. Yes, and it was just a false alarm, luckily.
Oh, well, that's good.
But yeah,
Where did you guys stay?
Stayed near Bellwood Trinity Park in Toronto.
Okay. Yeah, Trinity Bellwoods.
Yeah,
Cool.
That's it. Yeah, right near the Bellwoods Brewery, which I thought was amazing. Love that place. Really good.
Yeah, it's a nice area. That's the part that is getting like the Ossington area is getting really heavily gentrified at the moment. So, which is not the best, but it is very interesting to experience, I think.
Cool. Is that where you live then, Agatha?
No,
Toronto.
I do live in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, I loved it. Spent 5 days in Toronto and then 6 days in Montreal. It's really nice. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, Montreal is so nice in the summer.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, like everywhere you go, like you'll just be like walking down the streets at like sort of 11 at night, and walk past some little neighborhood park, and there'll be like some band like playing, and like someone cooking like some barbecue or something, and like a bunch of people hanging out. Yeah, loved it. Really good.
Yes. Yeah. That was one thing that I always found really cool about Montreal is that the music is just really good in Quebec in general. But so then like the street performers in Montreal are like always so cool as well.
Yeah, it's lots of good stuff.
Toronto also has the film festival.
Yeah, that's where I work.
Oh wow! Cool.
Yeah.
Is it for documentaries? No, it's just
we do have a documentary festival as well. It's called Hot Docs. It's not affiliated with TIFF, but we do host it in our cinema. Yeah, so the big one is just TIFF. It's Toronto International Film Festival.
Yeah, that's the one I meant.
Yeah. They have documentaries too. They have like everything. They try to get like the big blockbuster hits in there so that we can get more people. Well, yeah, so that we can get people to come, and then like some indie stuff, docs.
Oh, guys, we are actually in the same game, which is the first session of Monster Hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's gonna be good. Yeah, look forward to it. I mean, the game's not starting for like nearly 2 months, and I've already made like a 60-track playlist on Spotify. I inspire myself.
60-track playlist. I love it.
It's growing every day as well. It started off about 30. It's about 60 now. So
nice.
Yeah,
the reason.
sorry.
The reason why I'm missing 2 of those sessions is actually because I'll be working the festival. So.
It all comes full circle again. So.
Yeah.
Paul, you made like a 40-hour track list for ultraviolet grasslands.
Yeah, I did. Thing is though, that got carried away because that was all like kind of sort of psychedelic, like doom metal stuff, and like the average track length of those kind of bands is like about 12 minutes a song. So So it only had like about 30 songs on it, and it was already like 8 hours long or something ridiculous, you know. Yeah,
So-
I like to do that. I get a bit into it. Like, I sort of make a playlist like before the game, and then I sort of listen to it like generally like on shuffle like the week before the game. It kind of gets me in the right kind of like inspirational headspace kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, I have a Carcosa playlist that I play while I'm prepping Carcosa sessions, and I think I'm going to make one too I'm going to make one for my ballroom inspired Monster Hearts series.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Kind of like a sort of like 80s like underground club house thing. So
yeah. Make sure you put some Visage on there.
Exactly.
So we're all back. So Albertus, what you see is there's something coming down the brick path, and it moves like in what's it called? Like it doesn't move smoothly. It stutters and it moves very unsmoothly, I would say.
Well, like kind of like when they stop motion, kind of like animation.
Yeah, exactly,
Really
exactly.
Yeah.
In a jerking motion.
Oh god. Okay. So I'm going to pull out my my telescope goggle thing. Like how far away is it at the moment? Is it approaching straight towards us?
Yeah, it's definitely halfway through this brick path that lies behind a hedge, and through your telescope goggles, you can see that it looks completely made out of glass. It has like a silver, like what a waiter would carry, a tray.
Okay. Well, like a domed sort of tray type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to have any, or maybe only rudimentary facial features. It's humanoid in shape, human-sized, and it moves down the path. And that is, I guess, when the rest exit the mausoleum.
So I'm gonna warn everyone that I've seen this jerky glass waiter like approaching. I'm gonna say it doesn't look particularly hostile. It looks like it's maybe bringing us something.
I hope it's a glass of wine.
So when the thing approaches, you hear like its breath, you would say, which comes out in it's almost like a toneless whistle, like, and you can also see that it is hurt. So the reason why it moves so stuttering is not because it's a construct made from glass, but it's a construct made from glass where like broken shards stick into its hips, and one of the knees is splintered, and it comes like straight towards you.
It doesn't seem hostile though, right? Like it's just kind of moving toward us.
Yeah, I mean, how it holds to a tray, like a domed silver tray.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna load my flintlock pistol that I've got, and and aim it at this thing just in case it gets closer, just to make sure it's not gonna be hostile. Because I'm sure a bullet from a flintlock will shatter it into 1,000 pieces.
So it stops in front of the mausoleum, in front of you, and unless somebody reacts, it says with a does anyone speak Latin?
No.
I feel
No.
like I should, just because, but I don't have.
You haven't picked your languages yet, so why not pick Latin as one? And obviously, you have the religious background, so if you want to read the Bible,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have no other chance, I guess. Although
Yeah.
in the 16th century, they had translations. William, what's it called, Henry James Bible, I think is older. But you know, if you are preparing to be a minister, then Latin should be on your curriculum. So it says,
Wait, is this before the Anglican Church became a thing? Am I confusing things? Are we still just Protestant it up? Okay, well, it's fine. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I think I know
I will look
Latin.
into it. So he says in this whistling voice, it says, I brought you this shoe. And he opens the silver dome, and inside is a boy's shoe.
Look at Jan, like, yep.
And Jan cries out and runs towards the glass creature and snatches the shoe and yells, "That's Adrian's!" And the thing then says, "Can I bring you food?"
I want to nope right out of here. This thing's freaking me out. I will say, where did you find this shoe, automaton?
And you're saying that in Dutch, I guess.
Yes.
So
am I translate? I can be translating this.
Yeah, retranslate, please.
says,
Ask him where he got the shoe, Harold.
It says it brought us a shoe, and also it's asking if we want food.
And well, when you don't answer about the food thing, it says, it turns slowly around, and you hear there's also something broken in his like elbow, and there's this sound of glass on glass, and he points towards the brick path, and it says, "Down the path."
It's telling us to take that path. Is that where you found the shoe, man?
Yes, sir. And it's this fluting, like breathless voice. Every S is like a yes, sir.
Is there a child attached to that shoe when you found it?
No child, sir.
No child, it says.
And it now moves between you and picks up some of the broken marble and places it on the tray.
You gonna cook with that?
And it turns around and says, "Look, sir, I found food."
Yeah, it's feeding us marble.
I just say, okay, we don't have time to deal with this strange creature. We need to go find the boy who's clearly down that path, or at least what's left of him, Jan. And then I will press forward in that direction.
Come now, boy. And I lift him up on my shoulders again. Jan, I mean, not the waiter.
Yeah, so everyone is leaving, and you definitely hear that the glass creature is following you slowly, but it can't keep up with you. But you still hear like the whistling of him or it saying something, whistling something. All right, so another brick path that is, but more like a tunnel. So the hedges completely cover it. And what do we see while you're walking through this tunnel, or what you're talking about?
Well, I, for one, am. My opinion of this place is that it's very strange.
I feel this is all in our imagination, and we might wake up at any moment.
I think we may be in a dream.
Oh, so you're not even real. Huh.
Well, let's not jump
real.
to conclusions, Harold.
Maybe none of us are real. What is reality anyway?
What?
I know who's definitely not real, Isabel, but who knows? I mean, this could be, I don't know, maybe these little boys that we're tracking down are a sort of symbol for something in our minds, a symbol of something in our lives that we're desperately trying to grab hold. But every time we get our hands on it, it gets yanked out of our hands by a terrible beast and ripped apart, just leaving its shoes. Whew, boy. Pretty intense stuff, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm rather famished. I could do for some food.
Well, the robot had marble. I mean,
yeah, no matter how you prepare that, you bake it, you fry it, you grill it, it's not going to be very nutritious. And you'll probably lose the rest of your teeth as well if you try eating that. So we seem to have been journeying quite a long way into these gardens, and has anyone ever thought about how we're going to get back, maybe?
it had occurred to me that we do not know how to get back.
Well, I came through a door. We can go back through the door.
I mean, don't you remember the part where the terrain was breaking up behind us when we were in the minecart? I mean, we can't go that way.
Oh, yes. It was that.
We need to find the metaphorical way.
Oh, I see. The door of the mind. Yes. The door of consciousness. Very interesting.
What is
You're a
this
very, very
nonsense
deep
that we're
person,
speaking?
Whispering Pain. Whispering Pain is filled with mysticism, very mystical knowledge.
Yes, I understand that. This is what I heard about the Orientals, but
it's true. Well, here we are then.
Here you are at the end of the tunnel, and before you you see like very shortly mowed grass. Again, the place is surrounded by relatively low hedges and a couple of flower beds. But in between on the grass, there are there's one gigantic bird cage with a mirror in it. There are a couple of don't know if I pronounce it correctly, kennels.
Kennels, like a dog would be in?
Yeah, exactly. But almost fallen to ruin, like wooden kennels. And everything is ivory covered. The ivory is growing up the like the metal poles of this gigantic bird cage.
Ivy or ivory?
Ivy, sorry.
Ivy, yeah.
And Vincenzo, you're always the first entering a new area, and you have like it's as if something's flashing in front of your eye, and there's no saving throw or anything. You remember a beautiful scene from your past, like one of your treasured memories, but now the idea of decay comes into that memory. Can you tell me how that manifests?
Yeah. So I think that
it could also be entropy and decay. That's the theme of your altered memory.
I better look up entropy to make sure I have the right definition.
Yeah, entropy is just disorderly of things falling apart, being disordered.
Okay. So you said it was like a big bird cage in the middle, right? I think that my mother collected fabulous birds from all across the many distant and varied lands. And so she kept these birds in a sort of menagerie with like these like gilded cages with like very exotic, plumed animals in them. And I think as a child, one of my favorite things to do was to walk around, this space and her tell me everything about the birds and like where they came from and all that kind of stuff. And it used to make me very happy to see how happy it made her. And as I got older, she actually had dementia onset at a fairly young age. And eventually she no longer she couldn't remember the stories of where the birds came from. She couldn't remember anything about the birds. And she couldn't remember me. And so there were these towards the end, before I was cast out, I spent a lot of time mostly just taking her into that menagerie because that's the one place where she felt kind of comfortable and was not so erratic. And every time she walked in, she always expressed like wonder and awe as if she was looking at it for the first time. And then she would look back at me and I would have to reassure her that I'm her son, and yeah.
But there was this one time when she, like the last time she did remember you, and in your memory, that day is not gone, but instead of remembering her saying your name, for example, she would hold on to you and say, like, grab you and shake you and say, "Who are you? Who are you? Leave my house." That's the new memory you have in your mind. And then you snap out of it. But the others can see that something has shaken Vincenzo.
Are you all right, Vincenzo?
Yes, I'm fine. This place is. Let's check the cage, make sure Jan's brother's remains are not in there, and move and be gone from it.
So I just rolled a d6. I rolled a 6, and you have to reduce your sense of self again.
By how much? 6?
By 6.
Okay.
I rolled high.
I'm down to.
So while Vincenzo's trying to shake this feeling off and says, like, let's check this out, what is everybody else doing?
Yeah, I can start checking stuff out as well. I suppose, like the cages and all that kind of stuff. I guess making sure the kids aren't in there, as Vincenzo said.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's see if the kid is actually here. So you're checking the bird cage out. What is Harold doing?
I might be doing something similar, like I'm poking things.
Poking around, yeah. You could look at one of the kennels. There are like a handful.
Yeah, like if whispering pain, it starts from one side, I'll start from the other side and start like jabbing at things in an imperious way with my my harpoon.
Yeah. So these the kennels are these small wooden shacks for some kind of beast or the other. They're now abandoned and fallen to ruin, but you can still smell the like a very strong reptile smell, actually, a reptilian, like in a reptile house, very, very pungent. I don't know what kind of creature puts like a reptile in a wooden shack, but hey, who am I to judge? And in this big bird cage, whispering pain. Oh, hold on. What is Albertus doing?
I think the sight of the bird cage, the big bird cage, kind of it reminds him of the little cage he keeps Isabel in at home. And this thing where it is basically become allergic, has he, to Isabel?
Yeah, you have become allergic to iron.
Yeah. So like Isabel, she always perches on my shoulder, and I had to make her fly because I couldn't have her like sitting on my shoulder anymore. So I imagine she's got like really tired. Well, I think she's tired, but she's she needs like re-oiling and she needs a rest basically. So I'm gonna get her to fly into the bird cage and sit on the perch. And then I want to start. I want to start. What I'd normally do is like start oiling her and like adjusting her clockwork and stuff and make sure she's running good order. But every time I touch her now, it's like a searing kind of white hot like kind of feeling in my fingertips. And I can't touch her, and her little sort of mechanical eyes are like sort of looking up at me, like hoping to get her little drop of oil and whatnot. I can't touch her.
Yeah, Isabel definitely makes like a squealing noise, like why? So Whispering Pay, you look through the you enter the bird cage. Let's say you can just walk between the metal what's it called, poles. And you hear a buzzing of I don't know, insects, but big ones.
Within the cage?
Within the cage, like there are like these big feathers lying on the floor and bird shit, and it seems to come from under like a heap of feathers.
Under the heap.
So it's like a pile of detritus at the bottom of the cage, and there's some
Yes.
buzzing coming from underneath it.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I just leave.
Anytime. So who was checking out the kennels? I think, yes, Harold. You look inside one of these half collapsed wooden structures, and you look into the eyes of a boy. He's completely covered in soot and dirt, and has scratch marks all over, and his clothes are in tatters. and when he sees you, he tries to back down into a corner. What do you do?
Oh, come here, boy. And I reach over and just like grab him by the scruff.
I mean, he survived that long, not because he is courageous or something, but because he's quick. So I would say make a dexterity check, or he will evade you and run between your legs.
Sure.
Out.
Is Yan still with me? Because Yan was on my shoulder.
Oh shit! That is also true. So scrap that. Jan obviously shouts and he says, "Adrian!" And he jumps down, and the two, cry and laugh and touch each other and kiss and they're just super happy. And so Vincenzo.
Well, take one down, pass it around, 2 more little white boys to find in this garden. Let's do it. I really feel uncomfortable about that buzzing sound coming from the cage. I think you should probably step out of there. Wailing pain, whispering pain.
I'm already gone.
So you all want to leave the whole area?
So
And I mean, there's, as I said, it is surrounded by hedges, so you can more or less pick a random direction, or try to go back, or stay here, I guess.
What's the situation with the buzzing? Is it still just buzzing, or is something happening there?
It buzzes as if there's, I don't know, maybe a nest or something, and if undisturbed, maybe stays that way.
Do they sound big, like oversized buzzing?
Yeah, they definitely sound oversized.
Yeah, I don't want to be here for this. And you said we're in the middle of the hedge maze right now. Like, we could just go somewhere.
Yeah.
could we take the same direction from which we came through the ravine? Trying to make our way back, I guess.
You can try that.
Might as well.
I mean, are we just giving up on the other 2 kids? Is that the plan here?
Well, we just try to find them on the way, right?
I ask Atian. Is his name Atian?
Adrian.
I say, where do you are your brothers anywhere? Did you see them? Did you see anything? How did you get here?
And he lets go of his brother, and he says, I haven't seen them in a day. I just ran when the peacocks followed us.
Okay. Well,
You were a kid. Which way would you run?
all right. So maybe we can. How far did you run? Have you been here long? Who put you in the cage, incidentally?
I fled. I hid in the cage.
All right. Well, maybe we can look around for tracks or something. Try to find, something. I think we need to keep going, though, for sure. I think we press forward.
Yes. Let me just see. Okay. Out of like behind one of the kennels comes a completely bizarre creature. It has the body of a gorilla, the head of a goat, and it does have peacock wings. And that creature is also badly hurt. There's something like it has there's blood dripping from his side, and it sees you and lets off. What does a goat do when it tries to terrify its?
It bleats.
Bleeds.
It does that. Bleeds. So what do you do?
I'm dumbfounded that none of you saw this over here hiding behind the kennel. It's a wooden kennel.
I found a boy, is what I found.
All right then.
But take heart. We can. It's fine. It's hurt.
We haven't
It's
fought
trying to-
anything yet. Let's. We don't want our skills to get dull. Let's maul this creature. Let's savagely tear it apart with our weapons.
So
Also, I give you guys like 1 AV and 1 AC.
when you how do you do that?
Take heart. It's bleeding.
Is that just
It's
strategic
bleating in
advice?
pain. Is it a painful bleat, or is it like a what's the nature of this bleat?
It does look. The bleed.
Bleat, yeah.
Yeah. It is. It sounds hurt. It's a hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me get the. Let's see. What can it do?
Oh yeah, cue battle music.
Yeah, exactly. So
With this poor creature that's like.
I
It's
can't
the only
make
thing we
sound.
can take.
Yeah, I know it's all very funny. We've got this like bleating injured goat, but I think everyone's forgetting the fact that it's got the body of a gorilla.
It's an ape goat, right? Yeah, it's not just a goat. To be clear, it's a monstrosity. It's an abomination. We have to destroy it. So
It is an abomination, and it also, although it is hurt, it will try to attack you. So we need to roll initiative.
I will look to Harold and say, God did not intend for the beast to look like this. This is a heresy. So you gotta
Harpoon
go
it.
Harpoon it.
It's a hell creature. It needs to be
Harpoon it.
destroyed.
Harpoon it for God.
So it does have a 4. What you have to do, Agatha, and the rest, I guess, is roll your d6, and then maybe you have an initiative bonus because of your class, for example, or because of your dexterity. And so everyone who is higher than a 4 will act before it.
So I roll a d6 plus 2 for my dex mod, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I have a note that says +2 initiative.
That
Both.
comes from your class.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
7.
Nice.
So I rolled a 3, so I go after the
Creature.
creature.
I got a 5. So
So the creature, like on his wobbly gorilla legs, like stands in between you and tries to, use its claws to maim you, I guess. So it is whispering pain first.
Sorry, to interrupt, but so when do you get the bonus with Dex? Is that 13 and above? You get a bonus, or
I
Like-
should say on the tab. Let's have a look. It is, your dex bonus is 13, then you get a +1, and at 16 you get a +2.
okay? So I also have a 6.
And for the sake of simplicity, creature and hacking at it. So whispering pain do your what do you do?
I do some like fancy flourishes with my staff, and then I whip it out, extending it along the path of my arm so that it smashes into its face. hopefully. I guess. So I'm hoping for a dex roll is what I'm doing.
No, you have to roll AV. You have to roll under your AV.
Oh. Okay, AV 11. Interesting. And so do I get a double? Is this a positive thing?
No, just a straight.
Is there a way I can make it a positive thing?
Well, you're a deft character, and deft characters can get a double positive on their AV. I mean, you
have martial arts training.
honed in the martial arts.
Yes.
So yeah,
Nice.
I would say the answer is yes.
Okay, sweet. I'm doing it. Okay, I rolled a 12 and a 13. And my AV is 11. So it's not the best.
How it looks like, it is like as elegant as you described it, but you know, although it is hurt, and it looks kind of pathetic on its wobbly gorilla legs and with its goat head and everything, it does move pretty nimbly. So you try to hit it, and it just dodges. And then I think it is Vincenzo, the 5.
I am going to grab my.
I have a 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then it is actually Harold.
Yeah. Okay, and just so does everyone have 11 AV? Is that how that works?
Well, on the first level, a strong character has 11 and a deft character has 10, but the other guys have leveled up.
We're on level 2.
Okay, sweet. And then because of my rather what I said, everyone also has +1 AV and AC. I don't know what that means exactly, but
Let's see. So, Harold, you do have +1 AV because of your incredible strength.
oh, okay.
So you have to roll a 12 or lower. But because it has a natural armor, you have to roll above a 2.
Cool. I roll a 3.
Nice. So roll your damage die. Which did you attack with your harpoon?
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't actually know what the damage is. I don't think I ever looked up the stats for that.
Yeah, it will be some variation of a d6 because that's the only other die that exists. I'd say it's a d6 +1.
Sure. All right. I'll take it. D6 +1. It's a 2, so that's a 3. And then Fraser says that also +1 damage because my strength is 17.
Awesome.
So that's a 4. Yep,
That's
4.
4. So how does it look like? You just, impale it with your.
Yeah, I think this is the moment where because all this time I've been acting like a pompous fool, but it's like just when I'm ready to harpoon something, then I actually look like very serious, and then I huck the harpoon, which is maybe not the best choice.
That's what you do. You hunt animals. So
Yes.
In your element, and then it's Vincenzo. The creature is impaled. It has grabbed the harpoon and tries to yank it out of Harold's hand. So it's a bit distracted.
I just take out my flintlock and blow its head off.
shoot it in the head, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would also give that a positive double roll.
Cool. I got a 6 and a 20.
And the 6 does hit, I assume. Or what is your AV?
11, yeah. So
So what does the flintlock do?
D6
Also-
plus 1.
Yeah.
D6 plus 1. 3 points.
Yeah, I think for the sake of the time we're in, I mean, the creature is before you. You hold the pistol at his head, and you literally blow his head off. So
That is correct.
the goat head explodes in, there's an explosion of brain and bone fragments and horns. And I would say, given the time, that might be the last shot of the evening, the exploding goat head of this weird creature. So
That's a good cinematic ending.
it is. It is a bit nonsensical, obviously, but there's not really a story being told. And ending on a gory note is always a good point, I guess. So I'll stop the broadcast.